Good morning, good day, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new guest stream with DrTorment. The guest for today is someone I should really be working alongside a little bit more in the future, and I definitely intend to do so, but has a main voice in one of the big projects, or I should say the biggest project on the channel, which is the novelization of Dracula by Bram Stoker. Please come into my office and procure the house you have gotten for me via your firm. Welcome to the office, Tales of the Vox. From the Vox. Correction. Try again.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I missed the mute button.
No, I missed the mute button. That was my end. Hello. Welcome to the stream, Vox. As you can see, we have a few people already trickling in. Everybody's saying hello.
Yes, pleasure to be here finally after kind of talking about this for a little while and then lives getting in the way.
a little bit in the way, yeah. Let's see who's all in the chat. I see Cindy, Dreadful, Anecdotes, who has been lurking here long before the stream started.
We knew Dreadful was going to be lurking for a while.
Mutual friend of ours.
Yeah, it's just like an adorable hellhound sitting in the corner.
That is one way. Oh, wait, I forgot to do something. My mistake. Vox, here you go. I forgot to put in your logo over there.
There I am.
There you are. Right next to the chat box, as you should be.
Perfect.
The reason I put you in this, well, I should say awkward position is because I tried to have that, what's written down there beneath your radio box. I tried to have that visible.
It's just the initials. It's there, and I kind of went, yeah, we'll leave it there. Just white background, so it just says TFTV.
That works. I honestly couldn't tell, but okay. Now that you mentioned it, that'll be it. Yeah, I tried to keep that as visible as possible. Oh Lord, what is that noise? Welcome up WK7 and welcome. They has just subscribed to the channel. Thank you for that. I was honestly jump scared again. I have to do something about that piano sound. My God.
You need to stop being so jumpy.
Me? I'm Italian. I only am jumpy. Well, Belgian Italian, but you get the idea.
The Dark Lord of the Night. You would have thought there would have been a bit more stoicism.
Do you have any idea how many enemies I've made in all my centuries alive?
I'd hate to count. Must be a few lurking about with Dreadful.
Not for long. Oh, well, I was counting everybody that was in the chat. Wow, sidetracked. Hello,
yeah, that's all right.
Hello, Cindy, welcome. And Marty, hello. Jinxie, my ever-present mod and oldest Patreon member, has also joined today. Hello.
Yeah, that is a name that I have seen being darted around here and there as well.
Jinxie, yeah, she's also a mod on the server, where she has aptly named herself the Tormentor of DrTorment, and yeah, she is. She very, very much is. Oh, Rebecca Mercinger. Rose. I keep forgetting that's... Okay, keep forgetting that's Rose. Hello, Rose. Welcome. Rose is the official memefer of the Discord server, as I like to call her.
Brilliant.
She's in charge of making sure there's abundance of ha-has in the asylum.
Yes. I have to admit, when I jump into the chat sometimes and I scroll through when I've got time, I look and I'm just like, oh, well, they're all deranged. Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, we are silent, but we are deranged at the same time. It's pretty fitting.
It works. It works.
It does. It really does. I think that's about... I think we've had everyone, and if you are anyone joining the stream just now, by all means, do come and say hello. We'd love to say hello back. Let me see. Let me set up a little something. I'm gonna set up a Q&A in the chat, so anyone can ask us just about anything. Depending on the subject, it will be approved as I will read it. I will simply call it Ask Us Anything. And throughout the stream, people can simply click on the Q&A that will appear just below the, what's it called, pinned message, and ask us questions in a separate chat. There we are. Of course, everybody can also ask questions in the general chat, but this makes it easier to organize it a little bit. There we are. I see Taroxa has also joined. Welcome, the artist formerly known as Cryptic Tales. Everybody has to forgive me if I'm making a few mistakes here and there. I just got home from work. It's been a challenging day.
The bane of the everyday.
Hurt them at dirt, as we say in Flanders. It's a fun little word. I like to use that word so much. But, Vox, as the Q&A is going to fill up, I do have several questions for you, if you indulge the entertainment.
Fire away, good sir.
All right. So, first question up. I was wondering, how did you came up with the name of your channel? Because it's rather unique. It's not a name you always have things like, Mr. Creepy Tales or something like that. Tales from the Vox? It's something unique. I was actually wondering about that.
So, it was, well, I am a large player of Warhammer. Now, in Warhammer, one of the pieces of equipment which communication is done through is a radio called a Voxcaster.
Right.
Basically, it's a radio for sending communications. But I always like the idea of kind of this possessed kind of haunted object which somehow communicates stories from other dimensions through it, which is very much the principle of the channel. It's a long abandoned radio which, due to otherworldly things, now transmits stories from the other side. So Tales from the Vox.
Okay, I do know someone that fiddles around with a similar concept. Not quite like that, but it is similar. Basically, an entity that uses, say, a tape recorder that podcasts creepy stories. That's the main gig around it.
Very, very similar to what mine is. Yes,
Indeed. Jinx,
you're right. I ended up doing a story about it. It was part of my SCP collection.
SCP.
I think it's. Yeah, so I did 3 stories in an SCP collection, and kind of did them out of time. So the first one happened, and character in it met his unfortunate end, but I enjoyed it. did a prequel to it.
The guy died. I enjoyed it so much. I did a prequel.
And then did one in the middle, which kind of is literally about the Vox itself being found. So yes, found in an old warehouse down in Brighton in 1984.
That's something you've already written down?
It is indeed, yes. If anyone wants to go have a listen, I've got a compilation with all 3 of the SCP stories, and it is the middle segment of that trilogy.
Okay, if you can if you can find Jinxie on the Discord server, shoot her a link and she can put it in the chat.
Well, I will fire it over to her. Yes, and it's a series that I really liked doing, and again, regretfully killed off the character in the first episode, so it's all prequel from here on out. I'm currently working on some new ones.
I hear you said that regretful with a smile, though.
Yes.
Yes,
well,
pointing that one out. Regretfully.
It was yes, it was a brutal death, but at the same time, I kind of enjoyed how it started.
It was entertaining.
Yes. Well, entertainment is the key in all of this.
Yeah, that it is. That it is. I should definitely start putting my own writings on the channel as well. Good lord, that's... yeah, Dreadful Anecdotes is a rather good question, which was going to be my second question anyway.
Far away.
So Dreadful Anecdotes asks you, Vox, what got you into narration in the first place?
Oh God, Dreadful! Why have you done this to me with such a good question straight off the bat? So I jumped around audio for a long time. So I have a degree in audio production from university, and then I kind of stumbled through everything. So I went through doing some audio for radio, and then worked with live audio, and then with some bands. Then I went to theatre work, and I worked in a theatre for a long time until that wonderful thing called the pandemic happened, which meant the theatre I worked at closed down, and kind of sat in a point of going, oh, I don't know what to do from here, because the industry I was in kind of got very narrow because of that wonderful couple of years. And I was like, oh, I need to be able to do something where I can keep being creative and start to do things. And I always liked the theatrical element of performing, but have never had too much self-confidence in myself. Played piano for the last 20 plus years, but could never perform in front of people. And I thought, why don't I give a go at trying to read some stories? So I one day I'm working in audio production and recording. I have all of my equipment. I've got my mini studio set up. So I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. So I jumped onto Reddit, picked up a story, gave it a go, posted it, and went, I really like this. Good fun.
You can
and that was pretty much it.
And you can also spin your own flair to it, right?
Well, this was what actually happened. So I kind of, when I worked in studios and worked with other people, it was always me enabling their creativity. I was just kind of the technical person who did things for them. And as much as I loved doing that, it was very much a case of I felt stifled and I wanted to do my own things. So even after doing my first story, which was one which I took off of Reddit, I just went, no, I can't find the passion in this I want, and just went, you know what, everything I do will be self-written, self-composed, all the sound effects I will do myself, all the music and everything like that, and just went, everything will be done by me for the ultimate creative control.
I was about to say full creative control in your own hands.
This was it. Yes, and that's pretty much it. I always like having an element of drama to my life, and kind of vocalizing it in this manifestation lets me channel a lot of that energy out.
All right, I think that's that question answered and then some.
If that's okay for you, Dred.
Yeah, did you take notes, Dreadful? I hope you did, because I did not, and I want to discuss this. That said, he does have a better short-term memory than I do, I believe.
Mine is, I have one of those memories where I can, if it was in the last 2 hours, completely forgotten. After 2 hours, comes back to me straight away.
Oh, You lucky bastard. I have the kind of memory that's basically like Swiss cheese in the short term. Like, I cannot
Ah,
recall what the hell I had for breakfast, for example, but
brilliant.
I just know it has been coffee because I believe that's the only thing I only consume in the morning.
Yes, no, I have to admit, I'm one of these people which generally misses breakfast, as bad as that is.
Yeah, honestly, if it wasn't for the coffee, me too.
Yeah. Oh, and thank you. I'm going to say Taroxa for the kind words. I hope I pronounced that right instead of butchering it.
Well, I've never been corrected saying it like that, so I believe we are in the clear.
There we are then. There we are.
Also, hello and welcome to the chat, Rotting Prince and Nat. Welcome, welcome, both of you. More than welcome. Nat is listening to the stream during a workout. Oh, that's nice.
Brilliant. Enjoy. That's
good to know that we
that's
are.
some dedication.
It's good to know that we are boring enough to listen to while working out.
Working out.
I'm self-degradating like that. Yeah, Nat, she is working out while listening to the stream. That said, we also have another question coming in from Taroxa. He is wondering, how did you meet Dreadful, this handsome fella?
Geez, so I can't remember if it was Reddit or YouTube or email, but I remember I did some bits and he reached out to me. And I was like, and this was, I hadn't been doing this for very long now. So it was very much a case of, oh, hold on, someone's reached out to me. How do I go about this? We had a little bit of a chat. Dreadful. Can you remember if it was if you'd reached out onto me on Reddit or if you'd messaged me via email?
I'm pretty sure that Dreadful will correct you there.
Oh no, it's email. I've just pulled out the email right here, sir. Thank you for saying.
As you said it, he also put it in the chat. It was on email. He confirms.
Yes. No. Yeah, and it was super grateful because it was. Although I do this for myself. As I love making content for everyone, and I like to be able to share these things. But a lot of it is just for me. It's a way for me to be able to put my creativity out there, and it kind of works as like an almost like a rolling portfolio in a sort of a way. It gives me a bit of confidence in myself, being able to kind of work on voice acting, and it also lets me put all of my sound design, which I've spent the last 10 years working on, into good use. And yeah, it was a major confidence boost when Dreadful kind of reached out. Because he reached out and was just like, hey, like to work for a while, would like to get in contact. And I was like, oh, I didn't think anything like this was ever going to happen. And it was very nice. And we worked on A Revenant Stalks the Isle of Man, which was a fun one.
I remember that one. I was in that too.
Yeah, you were the old man?
I was the old man, the entity, and the crowd.
Yes. Well, I was one of the characters, but I won't say anymore. Make sure you go check out Dreadful's story to hear how that all ended.
Right.
But yes. And then just kind of got brought into the asylum, in which I then met yourself, and then have proceeded to just now and again work on collaborations with the both of you, and been very grateful to be kind of brought into this community. And it's a very honestly cannot say how thankful I am to Dreadful for kind of giving me the confidence to kind of push myself forward a bit and be able to join all you guys to the point where I am now here waffling away on stream with you, good sir.
Well, if it helps, while I do live streams, I kind of waffle it by winging it as well, so it's fine.
I think that's how I live my life. Is is
Wing
just by
it.
kind of winging it. Yeah, but
Toss a coin.
I will say, I will say yes. Yourself and Dreadful, yes, two very very wonderful, generous people who have been very very supportive and like cheered me on. So as a prerequisite to everything else, you two, you've done a lot for me just by being so supportive. So thank you for that, guys.
Nah, man, it's no problem at all. We see talent, we want to raise it. Simple as that.
And it's fun. That's the thing that I like the most.
I mean, here's the thing, but you are rather talented, though. I will say that. I mean, you're a musician, you do sound design, and the way you narrate the stories that you get, wonderful, man. Jesus Christ, I wish I was half as creative as that. Or talented. Talented. No, talented is the word.
I appreciate it. Yes, it's nice to kind of it's nice to be told these things. It's a confidence boost, and it just makes me want to keep going more and create more and more stuff for everyone. It's yeah, good fun, very good fun.
Definitely keep doing what you're doing, man. You'll get there.
Yes, yes. As when time allows it.
When time allows, that's the thing. I know that I've been knackered down by time more than I care to admit. I'm behind on several projects, but it is fine. I'm seeing a light at the end of the tunnel there.
I think that's one of the things that is very hard. It's a lot of people kind of you kind of have this ideology of instant gratification when you're doing these things, but I think you have to kind of remember that when you're making this stuff, you're not just making it for other people, you're making it for yourself because you enjoy it, and you have to kind of just keep pushing, and as long as you keep enjoying it, keep going. I think that's the best way to do it.
Sorry, I had to mute myself for the stream itself because there was a bunch of bikers coming past the apartment, and it was annoying me.
Brilliant. Yes. Well, luckily it's relatively quiet. We it's the blessing of the microphone I use. It's not one that will pick up much outside noise.
Lucky bastard.
Well, it's as I said, I have got a degree in music production, so the technical, as much as I've grown up my entire life being one of those really creative people, preferably where you're like, oh, I can do all these things. I also grew up loving the technical side of stuff. And my flat is very boxy, so your standard super cardioid microphone, which captures everything in front of you and around you, creates such a echoey kind of atmosphere that it sounds awful. But due to doing sound design and Foley capture over the years, I also have a bunch of shotgun microphones, which are
they as awesome as I think they are, or?
No, unfortunately, it's not a literal shotgun. But no, yeah, I know. I mean, if you put two of them together, it'd be a very skinny shotgun.
Works
but yeah,
well.
so my microphone of choice for recording in my apartment is a Rode NT4 Plus. So it's super directional, so it only picks up everything in front of you, which when I'm recording in front of it, it hits me and picks up nothing on the sides and no reverberation. So it makes it very, very nice because it's quite loud where I live. So it doesn't pick up too much of outside as long as the curtains and the windows are closed.
Oh damn, I should really start investing in one of those Rode microphones. I've only heard good things. Mine is at the moment a GTX 244 Buzz microphone, so I think it does pick up everything around me. Well,
GTX 244, let me have a look.
From Trust.
I mean, Trust, yeah. I mean,
it's not a bad microphone, far from it, but it's not a bad microphone, far from it, but it does pick up every single little sound that goes off bump in the night. I can negate that. I can usually negate that with, say, Crisp on Discord, because that's its own noise cancellation software. And on Audacity, there's the cleaning on that. But that said, like on the live stream, I don't know why, but it doesn't pick up the noise cancellation that I have installed. Don't ask me why, I'm not an expert. But, yeah, so when I do mute myself, it will be because either the bell, because I live next to a bell tower, is going off, or bikers are going off, which, by the way, Rose, they are the noisy kind of bikers that we know about in South Park.
Yes. Yes, I won't repeat any of that, but yes, I know exactly the thing you're on about.
Yeah, I was almost tempted, but it's like, no, let's not tempt the algo demons on this. Like, Taroxa now just said that he heard a kitty in the background. I absolutely did not because of the headphones, but apparently in the background one of the kitties was singing the song of their people.
Yeah. I'm just having a look at what microphone was just brought up. And so, as I said, I'm a real nerd for microphones and things, so I'm checking out what this was that just got posted in chat.
You need me to repeat it? Oh, no, the one that Taroxa was playing.
Yeah.
Was showing. Right. While you're doing that, let me say hello to a few new people I've seen pop in, like Jack Harrison. Hello, and welcome to the stream, Jack. I think I've seen Jack in the last stream as well. Welcome. I believe some things were said. I'm just going over the chat just to see that I haven't missed anything here. Taroxa says, exactly, Dr. Torment, raise the talent. Here's my channel shamelessly self-promoting. Aha, we're gonna ban you, Taroxa. I'm so sorry. That was... That's a no-no. Joking, of course. We are allowed to joke around here. Words of gold. I think that is for the inspirational speech you gave earlier, Vox.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I'm super interested. This is a problem with me. It's also sometimes when some of my videos get delayed. I have an element of ADHD about me, which will distract me quite a lot. So I kind of get very hyper fixated on things.
Trust me when I say that you're in good company, then.
Yes, you know what? It's one of those things where a lot of my friends are very creative people, and so much more talented and creative than some of them are geniuses. But we all have very similar mindsets, so it's kind of funny when you find people like yourself and you just go, yeah, this makes sense now.
We understand.
Yes. I will say, Taroxa, what I've seen about that microphone, it looks all right. One of the problems is microphones which have built-in windshields, so the pop filter which covers the end of it can degrade sometimes. So that is a bit of a problem. Though it seems all right. Other than that, anything which runs through an XLR, I generally find better than USB, just purely because it's a dedicated audio cable, and the signal transmitted through it is so much clearer than what you can run through a USB. As long as you're kind of running it through a dedicated audio interface as well, so something like just a Focusrite 2i2 or something along those lines, just for extra powerful preamps for better quality.
Also, Dreadful had another question for you.
Fire away.
All right. Out of all your work, do you have a personal favorite, and if so, why?
Oh, Dreadful, my dude.
He'd asked the hard questions.
Yeah, I know. I knew he was going to do this as well. I think this is why he's been lurking. He was just like, quick, let's just make sure we put him on the spot. I appreciate it.
I have a sneaking suspicion as well, yeah.
I don't know. There are a few that I like in particular. I mean, yeah, cheers, man.
Maniacal laughed.
Yeah, and I can hear his voice as well in the background in my head. Yeah, there have been a few. So one of the things, whenever I write my stories, and a lot of them are based off of things which have I've taken inspiration from very kind of recently, or it's personal experiences or things that are currently affecting me at the moment. It's something I never expect to do. I do a very small section of kind of poetry, which is very much just a lot of it is very driven by mental health problems that affected me over the years, or I have seen be affected in other people. Um, which is that so there's a lot of ones like that which I've done, and to me they're very personal ones, so I kind of have a massive fondness for them. I have to admit, my SCP selection, which I spoke about earlier, I love that. It was nice to be able to do kind of a continuous story, which was good fun for me. Though I think my most recent favorite one was the one that I've just done, which it was the first one, which wasn't actually my story in a little bit, but it was my retelling of War of the Worlds, the Eve of Invasion. So it's Jeff Wayne, who did the War of the Worlds musical. It's a retelling of the first track from that. If you haven't listened to it, an outstanding musical to listen to. I recommend it. It's if you like rock opera, it's brilliant.
Rock opera.
War of the Worlds. It's a full 2-hour long musical story for War of the Worlds. It's incredible. But War of the Worlds is something. If you haven't listened to it, it's outstanding. But War of the Worlds is something that I also share with my dad. First book that I ever properly remember reading when I was like 10 or 11, like decent sized book, should I say, was War of the Worlds. And my dad gave me his copy that he had from school. Outstanding book. Made me such a diehard fan of fantasy and sci-fi and those kind of classic tales. So that was kind of a very much a tribute. Well, I say a tribute. It was my dad's birthday essentially, and it was kind of a shared thing. And it was something that I'd wanted to do for a while, was do something that I really care about that much. So yeah, that was one that I particularly liked.
I do remember when I was reading War of the Worlds. There was a particular copy that I had before my old library burned down, unfortunately. But there was a particular edition I had that had illustrations on it, but it were like you have two kinds of people. You have two kinds of illustrations that people generally like. It's the one where the machines basically have these bulby eyes and are basically granaries on stilts. Not the one I mean, but this one was more eerier and creepier. And not entirely sure who the artist was, but he was American.
There are so many interpretations of the War Machine in War of the Worlds. So you've got the very classic one, which is the large, very silver metal monstrosity with the big green bug eyes. But then you've also got some which very much look like almost like giant walking huts. And they're very sinuesque, like creepy. They've got strands of things hanging from them, and they're very, I'd almost say like John Blanche, like very classic 80s dark, like grim dark sci-fi stuff, which I think is the coolest of them personally.
I think in the 80s there was also a version. I'm not from the 80s, by the way, but I did read a version from the 80s.
Neither am I.
In the artwork of Tintin, if you're familiar.
Yeah, I know Tintin, but I'm amazed to think there is a Tintin War of the Worlds out there.
Yeah, it's not Tintin, however. It's in the same artwork. I believe the same artist, or one of the artists that worked on Tintin, had a hand in it. Hence,
definitely something that I'm going to have to check out at some point soon.
It was an interesting design. It was definitely an ode to the earlier designs, walking huts, bulby eyes, and all that. But also, they kind of seem reminiscent to me, like World War II howitzers at some point.
I mean, they're not supposed to be these horribly newfangled things. I mean, if you look, War of the Worlds was written in 1895.
Something like that. It started out as newspaper thing. It's Penny Dreadfuls, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah. So that the entire thing was compiled in 1985. But with a lot of stories. I mean, if you look at, I'm a big fan of kind of classic. I say classic literature. Those really kind of like stereotypical things. So, you look at Sherlock Holmes or Ask Jeeves, P.G. Woodhouse's things, or you look at War of the Worlds. A lot of them started off in newspapers, and they were kind of like a weekly story written in a newspaper that was over a certain amount of time, which then eventually got published into a book.
I can geek about this all night, to be honest, but we don't have that kind of time.
I know, I know.
Next time we do this in the weekend.
Yes, that's a good idea. This is one of these things of working that normal day job kind of takes you out of the early morning routines, which is annoying.
Well,
So
the thing is, I'm not exactly tired because of work. I actually am quite energetic. I still have that energy in me, I suppose. It was just a
yes,
little bit panicky to set up the live stream because OBS is annoying.
yeah, I won't lie. I'm very glad you're taking care of this. I would have no idea what to do. My
Well-
limitations are somewhat social media deprived.
Well, to be fair, once OBS is set up, it's fairly easy to manage. It's just a hassle to kinda unlink and link the YouTube account again every time. I have no idea what's going on with that, but it's basically a little nitpick. Oh, Taroxa went to bed. I'm sorry that I missed that. Taroxa, if you're listening in later, have a good night. Belated sweet dreams. And I see that
Yes,
our mutual friend has a new question for you.
Fire away, Dreadful.
That's actually a nice choice of words because that's exactly what he's saying. Dreadful says, I'm just gonna keep firing away. As far as horror goes, what do you find the most horrifying in said genre, aka what gives you the chills?
You know, it's a very hard one, that is, because I kind of grew up in that kind of spoopy kind of household. Horror films and scary stories were the norm for me as a kid. So I built up this real kind of resilience to it. I think that's because I was so kind of used to it. I kind of rationalized what everything was with the knowledge that it wasn't real. As far as I know, these things aren't real. I can never be for sure, but I I kind of grew up with this whole rationalization for it. So there was all these horror films and things that I would watch, and you watch it and you're like, oh, that's a great film, but it didn't scare me. And I think the one though which really got me was and in recent years, it's the one film where I went, that was creepy. Was Hereditary.
Hereditary.
And as a as a film, that's probably one of the greatest films I've ever seen, not just horror wise, but as in cinematography. It's breathtaking. Again, if no one's watched Hereditary, I recommend you watch it because it's a wonderful film. But you've got these.
I definitely also recommend it, but continue.
So it is one of these things where I you can talk about it, but I'm not spoiling too much.
No.
Where you
To be fair, the movie is a few years old, so anyone who isn't caught up by now, this is their own fault.
It's when the figures are just in the background, and the elderly naked people just discreetly in the background, unassuming, and very much completely unexpected. And I that's something which I always find is so kind of key in horror, is these like moments of just where something is so like devoid of sound or context, and it just sits
It kind of forces you to actually pay attention to what you are seeing.
This is it. Like something that you would not expect to see completely in the background of whatever's happening in the more thing. It's that unsettling nature of it, which I find so beautiful. And it's so creepy. It's that whole thing of when you walk down the road and just in the distance you see someone standing and that chill runs through you and you feel all of that warmth just trickle out of you. That's the part which I think is great horror. A part which drains you of all of that happiness and all of that warmth, and you're just kind of there stuck looking without knowing what to do. That to me is the best kind of horror.
I actually agree with it. Nowadays, they have just way too many get in your face kind of scares. Like jump scares are the cheapest thing I've ever seen in cinema.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm human. When you see a jump scare, I jump at it because that's what it's intended to do. I can't help but flinch when something appears on the screen.
If done correctly, though, because sometimes, and that's more a commentary to modern Hollywood, than before. But in modern movies, you can definitely tell when a jump scare is going to happen, and that takes away the joy for me. Like, yeah, it's still happening. But that's sad.
I definitely think you're right there. It's funny. So I my dissertation at university was on the element of audio in a virtual environment in video games, and I kind of spoke about how fear is encapsulated in video games, and if audio is important to recreating fear. And it's one of these things where when you play games and the likes of that, where you get these audio cues, which the first time you hear it, you don't know what it's for. Something scary happens, and you're like, oh no, that's a scary thing. But then after a while, you kind of get used to it. And then instead of going, oh, something scary is about to happen, you go, something scary is about to happen. I've got to lock in and do this. And I think that's what's happened with modern media is we're so used to these kind of audio cues or parts of cinema where we expect what's going to happen. So instead of it being something which is unique and is going to jump out and scare us, it's now something that we expect, and our brain goes, okay, I've got to prepare for it. And it lacks the horror.
No, I get what you mean there. Yeah, it's just it's all copy paste nowadays, and shamelessly so, I will say. One movie did it good, so everyone else has to do it instead of doing something original. Dare to dream to do something original.
I think the problem is we live in a world where art has been created so many times that originality isn't hard, but you will always have a sense of being like something else. The problem is it's always done so cheaply. It's done for the scare, not done for
take a shortcut.
Being something. I mean, yeah, that's it. It's like it's a cheap thing. It's something to make you go instead of being something really impactful.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, the last time I thought, well, not the last time, but one of the better quote-unquote jump scares I've seen, and this is gonna be controversial, by the way, because I'm not a fan of the movie itself, but it had one good scare about it. Well, scare, also a big word to say there, but it was something that I found impressive. Is the Freddy Krueger film from 2014.
Oh, was that the remake?
Yeah. Now, I myself,
I won't lie.
not that bad of a movie, but also having been grown up with the other movies, which I know they're campy, dark humor stuff as the series went along, but that's what made it fun.
I have to admit, I've never seen that remake, and it was one of those things that was on my list to see because it's the guy that played
Rorschach from Watchmen.
Rorschach, yeah. I mean, I love the original ones. I mean, Robert Englund is an incredible kind of like.
You can't top him.
He is like one of the most iconic. I only say B movie because it's like a campy kind of movie, as you said, but like as
It's
a horror
campy.
villain,
My God,
incredible.
nailed it. Nailed it. There was
It's
another. There was another horror movie I was in called Incubus. I've never seen that one. It's definitely on my watch list. I'm not even sure if it is called Incubus, but he played a demon, and when I saw the post, I basically went, Freddy Krueger with horns.
That's very cool. I mean, I think there's a lot of those kind of 80s, 90s horror films which I hold very dear to me because I think not
Without
only are
them,
they...
we would not have these modern movies pertaining horror.
Well,
because
this is it. And also, like, one of the things that I'm a huge like fan of in those kind of things is practical effects and everything
oh
was...
God, yes.
You've got this combination of practical effects, you've got sound design, which is made physically as opposed to just digitally recreated audio. You've got these actors which are so kind of like committed to these roles, and it just makes these kind of like classic horror films so like important for anyone which kind of wants to take creative inspiration from those genres.
Speaking of the genres, because I was trying to explain something about the Freddy Krueger remake.
Yes, of course, yes.
What was it about? Am I short-term memory showing up?
Sorry.
I only know that I brought it on, but I have no idea why. It's like, oh God, short-term memory. Why? No, please. Oh wait, jump scares. We were talking about one.
Jump scares, yes.
Right, the one particular scene. So, I'm not saying that this movie did it first, but it is one of the first movies I've seen it do. So basically, fake a jump scare. Like, you know, you expect a jump scare to be there when the character looks at the medical cabinet and then you see a face in it or something like that, right?
Yes, 100%.
But this movie didn't do that, even though they had like 2 times the chance with the same character to look in the mirror and have something appear over there. Didn't happen. She goes back to bed. Yes. I thought, oh no, the first iconic murder of Freddy Krueger, and they're gonna skip past it? Are you kidding me? Suddenly he's in bed with her.
Nice.
I actually went like, okay, I did not expect this. That is actually a nice little touch. Nice.
Yeah,
I do say that it was good casting. It's just too bad that the movie didn't do too much, because it definitely could have used some more talented actors and admittingly somewhat better writing.
It's one that is still on my list to watch, so I will definitely bump it up on the list at some point.
Oh yes. Oh, look at that. Our dear old Memifer Rose has a question.
Oh, ask away.
Do y'all... Yeah, I have to say y'all because that's what she wrote. Do y'all consider jump scares being actually scared? I'm gonna say that means scary. I think I touched upon this before. Like, it depends on the execution, right? Don't make it too predictable, and if you're gonna do it, make it impactful as well. But have like one happen every 5 seconds, like jangling your keys. No, thank you, Conjuring. I've seen enough of that now.
I mean, it kind of, yeah. It's you're very much right there. It's how it's executed. I mean, you can have these periods where you just create tension, and it's one of these things where jump scares are almost deserving of those moments. It's like when there is a tense moment, you're kind of expected to put a jump scare in there. But then equally, it can be just as terrifying when you create 5 minutes of pure dread leading up to nothing, and it leaves this lingering feeling of, is something still to come? Is there still something lurking that I'm just not expecting yet?
Are you quite finished?
Yeah, this is it. I mean, you think if you've got, say, 5 minutes of pure, like, dread and just imminent waiting for something to happen and there's no payoff, and then 2 minutes later, jump scare, which is related to this dread, that's a good jump scare. I think if it's a very unexpected jump scare that you just weren't expecting, which then plays into something else. Yeah, I can see that as a good one. But it's, again, I think you're right. It's the overabundance of jump scares. It's when you watch a film or you listen to something, and every 2 minutes there's something jumping out and it's very unrelated to anything. It's just there to scare you. I don't
Right.
think that's like a real, or that's you scared. That's a, well, that's a just a standard reaction. I mean, you're gonna
It's
jump. If I knock something over, I'm going to jump.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, I jumped. Congratulations, you've made me do one basic thing that I can do on a daily basis. But I
Yeah,
feel actual genuine fear and dread. That's something of an art, I believe, if you can achieve that as a creator.
yeah, very much so. And I mean, like if you look at kind of films again, if you're looking at, say, Aliens, like the original Ridley Scott film with
Oh
aliens,
God, yes.
and you look, I mean, that film, like the entire way through it, creates these beautiful moments of tension where there's an absence of sound. And I think sound is such an important part in so many things, because the absence of sound itself is terrifying. I mean, you go outside, you do anything, there is always sound, and the absence of sound is there, and you get these
Space, man.
moments of dread. So in that, you're kind of like, oh, no sound as Ripley's going through places, and then a pipe will burst and steam will come out, and it's a jump scare, and you're like, oh, I expected that. And then she turns around and there's an alien there, and it plays off of it, and it's just this constant rising build of tension, which is getting you more and more invested, and it's causing you to kind of palpitate, increasing your psychophysiological responses and stuff.
Oh
And
God, yeah,
that
I want to
is
watch
a
that
good
movie
jump scare.
again. I really want to watch that movie again now. It was so good.
Yes.
Oh,
uh,
good lord.
and Aliens 2, an incredible action film.
Uh,
First one horror, second one action.
Also, would you excuse me for a moment, because I think somebody knocked on my door, but I'm not entirely sure. So, be right back,
That is
chat.
not a problem. I can stay here and entertain chat.
Thank
I'm
you.
not sure how. I will do my best. It doesn't help that I don't have access to any of these questions. So if there's anything else you want to know, post it in chat, people. Um, in the meantime, I'm going to sit here eating the small bowl of candy next to me. I'm going good. I'm going good. Thanks, Dreadful. Yes, I prepared for this. I grabbed myself a drink. I have a bowl of candy just to kind of keep me distracted, to keep chomping away through so I don't get too peckish at any way through. Also, sugar helps.
I have returned. Sorry, did I
You
interrupt?
have returned? No, not at all. I was just telling them about my setup of candy and sugar.
As you should. So apparently it was. I just have very thin walls. They were knocking at the neighbor's door.
Oh, brilliant. I really, really was concerned you were imagining things there. I was like, oh, this early into the evening.
Schizophrenia is one of the diseases of the century, so I cannot wait.
It is indeed. What fun.
It is. Let's see, Rebecca also said something in the chat. I've always considered jump scares as not actually being scary, more of an annoyance. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that sense nowadays.
Yeah, 100%. Again, I
100%.
definitely think it's just the context of what they're done, and an overabundance of them, too much. But yeah, I can see it both ways.
Too much is never good.
Yeah, that's very much the same with anything, though. I mean,
Yeah, it's a principal rule. I mean, yeah, it is like with us Europeans, we take everything in measure, or as much as possible in measure.
yes,
Compared to, say, and this is not supposed to be a little jab towards a portion of my audience, but let's do be fair that Americans do not tend to go with measured intakes.
yes. Yes. No comment.
That's just gonna leave it at that. Oh,
No,
look at, and also Dreadful had another question for you. It's also a bit of a
there you go.
doozy. I actually was also a little curious to that myself. So Dreadful is asking, before recording, how do you go about preparing your voice or to get in the mood?
I sing.
Wait, what?
I sing. I sing to
Really?
myself to warm up my voice. Yeah, I will. As I said, I've worked. For a long time I worked in theaters, and whenever you're mic checking, you've got the standard thing of just going 1 2 1 2 test 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 because you're measuring frequencies. And after years of doing that, I can kind of pick up. I was able to pick up frequencies I needed, so I could EQ everything out just by dials and things without having to use digital software. But I kind of got to the point where instead of doing the test test test, I would just sing a bit of music. And I'm not a good singer, and I will not demonstrate this. I would, I, I
It's
would,
fine.
I just sing to myself because it warms up the voice, and it's that kind of innate thing inside you where you're like, when you're singing, it kind of gives you a bit of like kind of peppy energy. So
Right.
a little bit of Iron Maiden goes a long way before recording.
Iron Maiden. I was about to ask, is there any particular song or genre you sing then, if when you're privately preparing, that is?
Well, I mean, you go back 10, 15 years ago, and that was me and a limited amount of black metal singing, which
Ooh.
my voice could not handle now. But no, your normal metal. The problem is, I grew up a metalhead. I always loved it. I grew up with Iron Maiden, Cyclone 9, all kinds of bands like that.
I see why you and Dreadful get along.
Yeah, we've spoken about it quite a bit.
I think so, yeah.
And at the same time, I have never had that kind of guttural voice or that low in like kind of demanding voice which you have for that kind of music. I've always had a slightly more of a theatrical element to it. So I do find myself kind of putting theatrical spins on metal songs, or just singing stuff from musicals because I grew up in theatre, and that's how it goes.
Okay, now I have another question of in the same sphere, if you will. But
Okay.
now I'm curious. Preparing for the role of Jonathan Harker, was there a specific song you prepared with?
So it was funny because when you approached me with this, he's one of those characters which oh God, I can't
Also,
remember. I must have read.
quick-
Oh, sorry.
Just a quick intervention that after the break we will be going more into depth with Dracula and stuff, but this was just a personal little
Yes.
question.
Yeah. No, and I am looking forward to that. So I'll keep this one on the shorter side then. Yeah. No. Jonathan Harker to me was a very kind of. It's hard to say. He was very much almost a cross between. If you go back to P.G. Wodehouse, who again a wonderful author. If you go back to his interpretation of kind of Jeeves the butler, and it's a very well-spoken character. So I kind of had less of a music for that, more of a kind of a mindset of how I wanted to go. But I think I ended up just singing a load of Nightmare Before Christmas, purely because there's a load of theatrical moments in Jack Skellington's voice, which I very much kind of. I used to get myself in a clarity of voice for that.
It's funny that you bring on that Nightmare Before Christmas is a Disney product, of course, and it's funny that you bring it up because for me, preparing for Dracula, I actually sang a lot of Hellfire from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Fire.
Dark fire.
Wonderful.
Don't get me in the mood now.
Yes.
But
Yes, I I
And
really like the Bells of Notre Dame. What a great song as well.
I can't hold out that ending though. That's ooh.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
note I cannot reach. But yeah, that's why I find it interesting that you use that you basically sing before as a warm up to your vocals, because yeah, with me it's either humming or going full on Disney villain.
Yeah, and I think it's a good way to do, because I mean, I will with it when it's other people, I'll quite often just ask them to just talk. Um, I'll just say, "Can you just keep talking to me? Just keep talking. Tell me what you did today. Tell me what you had for dinner. Tell me what your plans are tomorrow." Because any kind of talking when you're not thinking about performing allows your voice to kind of go into that more natural style. But when I want to have more theatrics to my voice, that's when I start to bring in my singing, to be like, oh, I'm going to sing this because it kind of widens my diaphragm more and really gets a lot more kind of air into me, so I've got better projection for everything. And Disney does do some cracking songs, as hard as it is to admit.
Classic Disney, I will say though.
Classic. I was about to say, yeah, like
classic Disney.
Early 2000s.
2D Disney.
2D Disney. Very, very much so. Yes.
They
Classic
had
animation.
They had a few good runs with 3D. Personally, I think that Frozen is a little bit overrated, if not a whole lot over bloated than it should be. Mainly because I'm not really a fan of the surprise villain trope. Like, come on, man.
Yes.
I hate it so much. Like, why can't they just be villains and act out a story? That's basically what made the other movies so interesting and other stories.
Yeah, on the other hand, Tangled, what a great film.
Yeah, but you knew who the villain was.
Yes, you do indeed. You do indeed. And again, that's another film with fantastic music for kind of... well, yeah, Dr. Facilier is an outstanding villain. He's Voodoo Song is one of my favorites.
And I've got friends on the other side.
There we are. Okay, well, we can do a duet at some point.
No.
Oh, well, it was worth a try. Sorry to disappoint everyone.
Maybe. We'll see how the channel goes. Oh, both our channels will be in, say, 2 years. I'd say that's healthy.
There we are. If it's all gone pear-shaped, we're going to start a band. Dreadful, you can join in.
Dreadful does the instrumentals.
Visceral.
Let's see. Did I miss anything? No. Now, that said, I think it's about time we are going to initiate our first break.
I am down with this, good sir.
Right. Shall we say about 5-ish minutes?
5 minutes? I'll see you back at 15:15.
All right. I say 5-ish because we may also be a minute early or a minute too late, but we'll see. We'll see.
There we are.
We'll definitely be back, though. So don't you go anywhere, good folks at home. We'll be right back, and then we are going to delve into a little more into Dracula and some other things.
In a bit.
Dreadful says, I can handle the drums along with random background pick noises.
I was about to say, I didn't expect anything other than throat singing from Dreadful there.
Yeah, there we go. I was going to, I actually was going to say, oh, wait, background pick noises. Oh, wait, yes. Now I get it. But without further ado, we are going to take a little break here. We'll be back very soon, folks. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. With me is still Tales from the Vox.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone, and everyone that is new, because I did spot somebody new that has teleported into the stream. Hello, Tori by Kitty Cat. Welcome, welcome. You are most welcome. Rose has also changed her name. Most excellent. And to anyone that is new to the stream, this is a guest stream where I'm joined by Tales from the Vox. As I earlier said, we do have a Q&A set up. By all means, ask us anything within reason. It's right above the pinned comment in the chat. Speaking of which, our mutual friend is knocking on our door. So, Dreadful Anecdotes is asking, saying, yep, it's me again. Do you by chance have a dream project that you'd like to take on in the future? A story that you have yet to write or script you've been working on for a while? That is a good question.
Oh, damn. He is full of good questions. Yes, so I have a few projects on the go at the moment, and some bigger projects and some smaller projects as well. So I've been working on a continuation of my SCP stories. So I have a few of those which are currently art written. One's nearly finished now. I have my longest story to date, which I am still. I've started to record my lines, and I have a few more bits to do. But that's all of my stories generally seem to be about page and a half. I like the shorter stories, and this is the first one that I've done, which I think has just hit 10 pages. I think I ended up writing.
How many?
So
10?
10 pages, yes.
Ooh.
Of writing. So it's quite big, and I've kind of been dabbling with the idea of breaking it up into parts, because it seemed to fit a few kind of chapters quite nicely, and then once it releases, I'll do a kind of a compilation with all of them, which is nice. But that's one that I'm really like. I can't wait to finally start working on that more. But then I'm also dabbling with an introduction video for my channels, for my videos, and it's only going to be a short one, but it's something that I'm currently tinkering with a prop to record, which has gone a little bit sideways at the moment.
Sideways?
Because I'm doing some. It's well, as we spoke about at the beginning of this, my channel is based on an old-fashioned radio, and I have managed to come across an old-fashioned radio, which I am kind of currently tinkering with to change its lights to be red as opposed to the dated yellow they are. And I need to take it, and I'm very lucky because I've got a few locations that I thought of, and one of them is actually an abandoned hotel near me, which I have been given permission to go record my little 10-second intro video in. So I'm just kind of waiting till I can finish wiring up the electronics in this radio for how I want to get it to be done, and then fingers crossed in the next week or so I should record it, edit it, and then I will have a nice shiny introductory video to all of my stories from going onwards. Something to kind of something I wanted. It's one of these things, although you don't need it, I kind of liked this idea of having this almost something kind of that people can look at and be like, that's one of Vox's videos just by the introduction. So they'll be able to see it and go, oh, there we are.
I get what you mean. I have something similar going on with my current intro. There have been a few iterations going in and around with the intro there, but I'm kind of happy with how it is now. But I would definitely not mind an animated intro. Oh my god, that would be so epic.
Yes, well, so the radio which I've got for this is not the exact radio which my my channel's based on, and annoyingly, the picture for my channel is it's based on a Victor Model 128 Tombstone radio, and they are beautiful. And I've only ever found one. It was about £400, which is out of my budget for a 10-second introductory video. So
Yeah.
I managed to pick up something miles cheaper, which I didn't mind tearing apart just to make look cooler.
Hey man, again, there's that creativity coming out.
Yes, but it's So I think that's one of the things that I'm most excited for, because it was also like it's far from cinematography, but it was like it's something a little bit different that I can do, and it just adds a bit more kind of flair to the channel, which I'm very excited to get round to finishing off. And again, when I have time, for the normal 9 till 5 will dominate this time, unfortunately.
Indeed. Now, I did say during the break that I had a question for you pertaining sound design in games.
Yes, you did, yes.
Indeed, I did. So I was thinking, if you've ever played the game, what do you think about the sound design done in Dead Space?
Oh, what a hell of a game.
There we go. I thought you'd appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Dead Space 1, incredible. Dead Space 2, very good. Dead Space 3...
Yeah. It's there.
It's a brilliant game. And so it's... Again, so if we go back to what I mentioned a moment ago, Dead Space has these beautiful points in it of absolute silence. And I generally find the absence of audio is probably one of the most unsettling things. And now a lot of people kind of say, how is no audio sound design? But that's kind of one of the unique things about it.
It's a natural thing when you think about it. It's something that House of Jen pointed out to me when I was working on the immersive sound design of my latest Wendigo story, It Ate My Sister. So she pointed out to me at some point that while the character, which is voiced by TJ Hodder from Tapes of Trepidation, while he is walking through the woods, and there's a passage that mentions that he's walking through the woods, and it is, but she also pointed out that, well, he is getting close to this cabin where the Wendigo is, right? I said yes. Well, you know, in nature, if there's a big predator around, everything does fall silent. So if you can put that in the video, it would come across as more natural. And I did. As soon as the passage was mentioned that he was coming near on the cabin, I just dropped all sound design, and it was so much more effective.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, it's the unsettling nature of if you've ever been outside, like when you're walking by yourself late at night, and like you have the noise of cars in the distance, and you've got like the odd like owl or something hooting, and the wind kind of rustles, and you've got this general atmosphere around you, and then the wind stops, and then the cars are all gone, and no bird will make a sound, and the world falls deathly still. It's almost like you become isolated, and that itself is so powerful. It's brilliant. It's so good. And I mean, the are the necromorphs? What are they called?
Yeah, necromorphs.
Like the necromorphs. I mean, something that I absolutely adore is monster sound design. It's such a creative, unique thing where you can just go wild, and you create these really like visceral things where it's so unworldly through the combination of just pure vocal skills mixed with digital enhancements. I'm sorry, as Rose noted, Alien Isolation. I mean, so I actually lived near. So back home where I lived before I moved,
I was actually going to touch
I
on that
actually
too.
lived right next to Creative Assembly. So I've a bunch of my friends worked on Alien Isolation, so luckily got to see some of that way before it came out, which was good fun. But yeah, it's very it's such a good game, and again, it's one of those atmospheres where you can get lost in just the environment, from kind of like standard computers just beeping away in the background, filling these like gaps of negative space in sound, which when they shut off, you notice it so hard.
I have played Alien Isolation only once, to its completion, I will add. Genuinely, that is what I would call a good horror game. Not only because of the sound design, it's not in your face horror. It's that creeping sense like you got from the first movie of Alien, which I can adore.
Yeah,
and they kind of
we'll
mixed
go back
elements of the first film and the second film, which is something I can even more respect.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it is a very well crafted game. That's one of those horror games which
Very atmospheric.
if you look back to, yeah, this is it, and it's like there are some iconic games in these kind of things. You kind of look at Alien Isolation, Amnesia, A Machine for Pigs. One of those games where just atmospherically it's so all-encompassing fear, which is so good. But then I even like stuff like Left 4 Dead, which, although is not an atmospheric game in its approach to things, obviously it's a relatively fast-paced shooting game. When you've got these moments of like quietness,
that's when I start to be paranoid, man, especially on Left 4 Dead.
This is it, and you hear that witch
sobbing
quietly in the background, getting louder and louder as it like kind of staggers towards you. It's just like a cold like grips your chest, and you're like, well, oh no.
No, thank you. You can. I'm just gonna stay over there. You guys can go ahead and die, but I'll be over there in the distance, on top of things. It'll be fine.
Yeah, this is it. Then when you played with my friend group back then, it would be like, oh, of course someone's going to shoot it straight away.
But you own a copy of Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, or?
Yeah.
Okay, because
Steam.
Okay, so I have Steam too. We should definitely have another talk about this.
There we go. Let's I'm sure we can grab a party of 4, but I play Bill.
Sure, man. I don't. Yeah, okay, you can have Bill. It's fine.
Good.
All right, Rose. I think so effing cool that Rose puts in the chat. That is pertaining to Alien Isolation, and that you are basically in the loop about things.
Yeah. I grew up. So where I grew up, down in the south of England, is a massive hotspot for gaming.
A Southerner.
You have. Oh yes, of course. Well, I am. It's one of those things where when a lot of people speak to me in person, they immediately realize I'm from the south due to the accent.
Yeah, as I said before, I don't have that much of an ear for accents, but if I may ask, of course, if it's a little too private, by all means, so you don't have to answer it. But what is your accent called, for example, as in from what region?
I'm Southern.
Yeah, that doesn't help for us that do not live in England.
Yes,
like
it's
Sussex,
very difficult. Yes, so I was from West Sussex.
Okay, close enough. I'm actually proud that I kind of guessed that. Nice.
Well done. Yes, I grew up in a in a standard working class family, but I had I have family who is very well spoken, and I think that's how I kind of was brought up, was in this ability to kind of enunciate every word and have to everything I say. West Sussex is not very posh, trust me. It's a lovely place, but it's not that.
You have to forgive Lulu. She is a channel member of mine, and therefore does have a bit of a carte blanche when it comes to saying things in the chat.
That's not a problem at all. I wish it was that posh.
I also believe that she is from Britain itself.
Oh, I'm very intrigued whereabouts from now.
Yes, Lulu, tell us. Don't have to though, of course. No one.
You don't have to. Yes. Worst comes to worst. If you find me on Dr. T's Discord, feel free to let me know. I'm intrigued to find. Oh, you're from Warwickshire. Oh, very nice. I'm currently closer to you than I used to be, should I say?
Oh. Also, look at that. House of Jen, speak of the devil. There she is. Hello, Jen. Welcome to the stream as well. The reason I say speak of the devil is because I just explained your input when I was doing the Wendigo story, and you gave me the advice not to use any ambience or music or any kind of track during a certain part of it.
This is the one. Yes.
Yes, that is the one. Yes, she is the one. Oh, Coventry. See, I am only familiar with Coventry because of the famous Coventry Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've. Look, here's the thing. If I hear good songs or music, I'm just latching on to that man.
Yeah, no, I understand that entirely. And unfortunately, I mean, you are getting to this point, though, where it is starting to... I mean, you're getting near Birmingham. When you get near Birmingham, it's a bit too north for me.
His accent came out. Huh?
No. I think the problem is, as a southerner born and bred, anything past London is generally considered the north to us.
Savage lands.
Yes, you kind of... I mean, it's more the Midlands, but I think the second that the gravy to chip ratio starts to increase, you are we'll say no more.
I mean, I don't think my audience is large enough to say that they're all from England, but just for future reference, we love everybody around here, and we have a lot.
It's one of these things. There was a wonderful... I can't remember who said it. It was a British comedian, and it was the problem is, if the North ever decided to invade the South, we'd be doomed because they're full of people that can fight, and we'd just have to send our butlers to do it.
Oh wow, that sounds... I know this guy. Hold on a second. Oh, that sounds familiar to someone I know. Hold on. Christ, isn't he that insult comedian?
You know what? I cannot remember who said it. It was a very funny... It was a very funny sketch.
Like, I know that he is famous for basically insulting audience members when they ask stupid questions, which they do.
Carr?
Yeah,
it was Jimmy Carr. Yes, I thought so. Yes, we would very much be sending our servants, and at least if they came at us, it would be a slap on the face with a glove and try to entice them into a duel.
Well, around here we have, in the south, where I live, we have the French-speaking portion of Belgium, which is where everybody is confused that Belgians speak French. We do not, but we simply do not. But that said, if they were ever to invade, I just have to throw my cats at them and say, we are going to cut your disability checks, and they would bugger off. I will not hold back on this. If you're French speaking, nah, I am an enemy to you. Like, it's basically canon now that I make fun of the French whenever I get the opportunity, or anyone that is French speaking, so it's fine. Right, Lilith? I know. Rose, what
Canadian
about
French
Canadian
is
French?
French. Don't worry. That's
Yeah,
like
that's
American English. It's not English.
it's a bastardization. I can live with it.
Very much so. Yes. I won't lie. Again, if you go too far north, I'm not quite sure it's English anymore.
Oh, those savages and their kilts. That's too far north, I think.
Oh, I think there's this fundamental difference though. When you hit Scotland, it's not too fine. That's a different place. It's below Scotland and above London, where you have to be. It was more or less Mad Max.
So basically everything on the other side of Greenwich.
Yes, it's
Okay, gotcha.
it's Mad Max, but there's a lot more.
It's
farmers.
Mad Max, but instead of desert wastelands, you have serene green and verdant hills.
Yes, very much so. Now, if you ever are in the south, that's the best place to go walking. Wonderful areas for green hills and out in the middle of nowhere.
Definitely get where Tolkien got the sense of the Shire from.
Yeah, yes, 100. There's my brain is trying to remember half of the places from back home where I used to go. I mean, it's very much where I used to live back home. It was you would walk 15-20 minutes out of the village, and it was fields and hills and forests, and you could just get lost in them for hours.
Good. I mean, not good per se, but I like to be lost in the forest sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes with a cousin, there's a nature reserve right beside my home, right?
You know, Woking's. Surrey's not too bad of a wasteland. The Surrey lot are all right.
This is fine. This is okay.
Yes, well, I I wasn't far away from Woking, from where I grew up, and Guildford, just by Woking, is one of the nicest towns in the UK. So I do like it that way.
So you mean up? Oh, I see that Jenna is familiar with the geography. Okay. I honestly should not be surprised. She's about one of the few actual USA citizens that I like. And Rose, of course, too. Hello, Rose, if you're still in the chat. Hi. A little sip of the YouTube child-friendly beverage I have next to me.
Oh, very nice.
I have to say that out loud.
I won't lie. I have a tasty bottle of Coke Zero because I was like, I need some sugar, but not that much. I need something sweet to drink.
No, I get you.
I have to admit, one of my main things whenever I'm doing recording is, for the most part, I always have a cup of tea near me, and that is, I know that's very British, but it really, having something warm to soothe the throat, it's blissful.
Let's see. Rose, one minor little thing though. I'm not going to remove that, but do mind the sussing, by the way. Just a little thing, because YouTube is also a fun place like that, where you can write those stuff, where you can write those words out loud, I suppose. But yeah, do keep that in mind. Other than that, love
you. I will say though, which will ultimately draw us into a point that I know kind of both of us would like to talk about at some point. But a wonderful place to go is to Whitby.
Yes, that's a good segue, because I actually wanted to move on today. Yeah, that's a good segue.
I know you did. I could feel it. But as far as a location goes, absolutely a wonderfully quintessential British kind of seaside town, with the most hauntingly beautiful views, and ultimately where a big chunk of this conversation will turn for the next segment. So I'll leave you to this now for the moment.
Yeah, it's actually I actually wanted to focus a little more on Jonathan, to be honest.
Yes. Oh, of course. Yes.
So we already discussed how you basically got into character and all that. But to those uninitiated here, I'm just gonna say that people do not know what kind of a monumental task you actually have, because it's not every day that I kinda ask people to read the 4 first chapters of a quite substantial book.
Yeah, so it was it was a little bit overwhelming to start with, because as I've
Yeah,
said,
you mentioned as
quite
much.
I'm quite fond of my small short stories. They take me 2 or 3 takes to get everything I need done. So it's normally only about 20-30 minutes of recording tops, and then I edit off everything afterwards, and I stitch words together when I need to. And this was a good, what? I'm trying to think now. So, some of these like 40-page chapters took me about 3 to 4 hours to record a couple of takes and then stitch it all together. It was a very, very big project. Wonderful fun when I gotten into it. But we are rather loud.
Oh, but it was rather overwhelming when you started. But I did feel like, as I was listening to the recordings, I did kind of get to feel like, yeah, I can sense the doubt a little bit in chapter 1. Gonna be honest.
Yes.
But as chapter 2 came along, I could actually hear that the confidence was coming in there.
Oh, 100. So it didn't help that I mean, I won't go into it here, but I remember chatting with you and Dreadful about these things. But there was a fair few personal kind of things that went on in those few months. So I had some delays. So my motivation to recording was kind of diminished for a bit. And then we also had kind of the Christmas period. We were recording it before, so working a standard kind of retail job, in my main time, I was kind of like very worn out from that. And then I got sick for a big chunk of time and lost my voice. Which was
right.
which was great.
I do remember. I do remember you. Excuse me. I do remember you mentioning that before in an earlier chat. I was fishing for an update at the time. Not entirely sure, but I was just looking for an update. Hey, how you doing? I hope it's not too overwhelming, something along those lines. And you did mention something about a sickness, that I do remember.
Yes, I lost my voice for about a week and a half as well, and it was really, and I kind of tried to record through in that first chapter, and I think that was just as I was like losing my voice, and then I had to come back to it and then redo some of it to kind of replace it. And I was kind of not only kind of just drained from everything as normal, but kind of had this, oh no, I've got to get this done because I didn't want to let you down and let everyone else down, and I wasn't overly confident in it, and it was such a was so kind of sorry.
No, go ahead, finish up.
It was one of these things. I was so honored to be a part of it, and when you came forward and were like, do you want to do this, I was like, yes, this is something that I'd want. Like, it was such a nice project to undertake, and I was so excited. And you had such an incredible kind of like group of people as well, which all jumped into this, and it was so like, I can't wait to be a part of this. But unfortunately, my own confidence wasn't there for that first little bit. So as much as it was kind of, it built up, it's kind of, definitely started to pick up. And then it's funny because it was only the other day, actually, I listened back to some of the chapters which will be coming up, and I was like, I really loved the job I did in these, so I can't wait for everyone else to hear them when they're done. But I really loved it.
I do have to say that the lack of confidence actually worked in chapter 1, by the way. I do have to say that.
We love Dreadful. Don't work too hard.
Dreadful? Dreadful says, alright boys, I'm gonna finish up some editing. It was a pleasure finally hearing you, Vox. I wish you all the best and keep in touch. Alright, Dreadful, you have good luck with your editing. I will talk later as well. Let's see. House of Jin says, sounds like a nightmare, man. Worst thing that can happen to a narrator is anything that can affect the voice. Aye.
Yeah, and you know what, I think the voice was kind of just a combination of stress and things that had happened. Just I pushed myself to my limits, and I was very, very worn out, and yeah, that was kind of hard. But again, I after that first episode, that first chapter, I kind of found my footing a hell of a lot more, and really, I really kind of put a lot of effort into the next few, and really let the emotions take control.
And it worked beautifully. Like,
Yes.
I kind of liked. I'm gonna keep talking about chapter 1 and 2 here. I don't want to spoil too much about 3 and 4. But I kind of liked how with chapter 2 you really got the sense of, oh, right, he's building up with the emotions. Like, I can hear the curiosity when he's in the library. And I can feel,
Yeah.
and I can hear the dread creeping in towards the end there, realizing that he is a prisoner in an inveritable prison.
Yeah, he's a very interesting character because unlike a lot of your kind of um a kind of like protagonist, he's not this courageous. Oh, I'm gonna
Save the
do all
day.
of these kind of things. Yeah, he's more of just a. Oh no, I went to do a job and things have gone wrong. I'm going to see what I can do, but I'm not very hopeful. Oh no, my brain.
Oh no, I better put this in my diary, which is basically body cam footage for back then.
And it really is. It's such a unique. It's one of the things that the book's so incredible because it's a really unique perspective in how the book itself is written.
Yeah, I don't
Just
think back in the day there were a lot of books that were basically written as certain excerpts from journals and newspaper clippings.
it's like the original Blair Witch.
Huh. Huh.
Yeah, blown your mind, haven't I?
Oh, Victorian Blair Witch Project. Okay, then. Now we know.
There we go. But yeah, it is, and he is kind of interesting because he's not exactly the most confident character to begin with. I mean, in the end of the day, he's still kind of like he just become like a partner in this firm, and he's kind of going out for one of these first big things to a place that's so foreign to him, that he's kind of, although trying to bolster his own confidence, is very kind of sort of trepidation about the whole thing. So he's not the most confident person to begin with. And he puts on a show. I think that's one of the things I like about the character, is he puts on this sense of bravado when dealing with the Count, which you can really
I can tell.
falter.
Yeah, as soon
the
as
story
as the Count does his little mannerisms and quirkinesses during their talks, which is something I really had to look up on, by the way. Dracula is one of those characters I haven't done. Usually, I just read something once, and I kind of get the character, you know. And Dracula is one of those exceptions because there were multiple inspirations I took for Dracula. Most recently, I will say Bill Skarsgård's performance in Nosferatu. But I will say,
what a hell of.
That said, I never really liked. I like Bill Skarsgård as an actor. Don't get me wrong, but
Yes.
the thing is, and Dreadful also agrees with me here, is that his voice feels very forced to be the character.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I try to be more natural with that. Now, there is a little something that I did notice in chapter 2, and that's partially my fault. I forgot to update your lines in the video itself. I do apologize for that. And with that, I mean, it sounds like my voice is a decibel more up than yours. It is something I rectified in the Spotify version, by the way. But
Yes, but funny enough, I did actually hear that and completely forgot to mention it, and I was like, yep,
yeah,
forgotten that. But yeah,
that's my fault. But it's rectified in the Spotify version, and if I ever do a remaster of the chapters, it'll definitely be that version in it.
yes, yeah, but it was yeah, and but you did a fantastic job of performing him. You've got that wonderful kind of nuance in your voice, which gives that kind of very regal yet sinister undertone to what Dracula has. That even when he's speaking with kind of an attempted pleasantry, you can kind of feel the malice behind it from just centuries of kind of like bitterness in his personality. So you did an outstanding job at kind of capturing
bitterness was something I went for, but also predatory.
Yeah, especially like how you kind of pull off sentences and stuff like that. It's almost it has that element of like classic. I mean, we go back to talking about like Disney films and stuff like that. It's that classic kind of like villain approach to it you've taken. It, like almost like Scar in The Lion King. How it's kind of like.
I do love Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's got a beautiful kind of the cadence to your voice leads to that. Oh, it's not just normal talking. It's that I can strike at any moment kind of thing. So yeah, really, really nicely captured.
Yeah. Because there was also something. It's not only Bill Skarsgård that was an inspiration to me, obviously not. But more than a few people actually pointed out to me, especially amongst them as my fellow Star Wars geeks, that when I'm performing certain voices in the narrations, they basically turn to me as they are listening and they go like, you know how Palpatine has that purr whenever he's starting to talk in his Sith voice? You have that too when you put in the effort. I was like, when the hell do I put in the effort for that? Like over here. And then they point out that one. It's like he has this soft purr when he also speaks normally. Apparently, I'm not doing it right now, but if I'm trying to do it like this is when you start hearing it.
Yes, yeah, it's kind of almost like talking to someone like you is a lot of effort, so my voice is kind of listing somewhat.
A little bit. But that's not a problem. Here we like those kinds of things.
Yes, whereas my approach to it was just the further the story progresses, the more erratic I kind of tried to make myself. He has these Harker has these kind of moments of like weird kind of euphoric clarity where for a moment he can kind of think normally, but it's so kind of minute, it's dispersed into these like pure like, oh no, everything's gone wrong, I can't hold this delirium bursting out of me.
Well, here's the funny thing. According to old vampire legends, and with that I mean pre-Bram Stoker, because, Bram Stoker kind of made it popular. But pre-Bram Stoker, the older legends of vampires, when you are in the presence of one, you do kind of fall into a so-called delirium, if you want to use that word.
Yeah,
it's like their influence itself kind of warps your mind.
Yeah, Dracula. Well, you say Dracula, like just Nosferatu vampire. However you do it, they are this kind of embodiment of darkness, and in doing so, they kind of emanate this aura of kind of malice and
despair,
dark thought, and that's it. Which is. It's very Lovecraftian in how it kind of affects your mind. It just
that's an
overwhelms
aspect.
You.
Yeah, indeed, and that's an aspect I feel a lot of people don't really get. That vampires, if you look at the older legends, that is, are pretty much Lovecraftian.
I mean, they're ancient evils. They are these beings of like, they're not just immortal witches got life eternal. They are these beings of pure malice and evil who are like very, very powerful in those old legends over the whims of mortals.
Indeed, Rose says I can feel that she can feel some disdain. I wouldn't say disdain. I'm just saying that there are some things that Bram Stoker put in his writing that I don't necessarily always agree with, but it's fun to read.
I think Bram Stoker, in bringing it to the mainstream, slightly romanticized some of it.
Slightly.
It kind of and this is what happens with a lot of kind of like more modern interpretations of things. They get kind of this element of pizzazz or kind of like glorification to it, which takes away from that kind of visceral malice that the characters should originally have.
Definitely. Oh, wait, a little correction from Rose. She meant vocally. Well, during the performance of Dracula, that there was disdain and I mean, yeah, I can definitely get that. So, funny enough, that is something I've also wanted to put in, like, that she puts, I forgot the word about it, but in the disdain for the living. Basically, you're talking to an undead noble, so when you're thinking about it, Jonathan he's literally playing with his food. With inviting Jonathan over, have this little theatrics and all that. He's literally playing with his food there.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, he willingly takes this person into his home, knowing his ability to control people. And
it's like a cat inviting the mouse.
It very much is. Like it's a cat has just opened the door, let this mouse in, and then very literally locked it behind him.
Speaking of, House of Jen has a question for us both.
Of course.
What is the biggest challenge when collabing with so many people for both Doc and Vox?
God, well, I mean,
guest first.
Yeah, so if it's for me, it's just kind of being able to, I wouldn't say live up to the expectations, but to deliver a performance where the person that you're working with can just go, yes, that's it. I mean, there will always be some form of feedback whenever you're doing something. I mean, we had some points where I'd missed a couple of lines in some sections, and you said, "Oh, can you send that back to me?" But it's that
right.
Trying to. I think one of the key things for me is to not skimp on. If I take pride in my videos and the work that I do, I want to do that and some for the person that I'm collabing with. So I really kind of want to, if it's going to be something together, that's not just my name, that's the other person's as well. And especially when yourself, Doctor, spent such a long time kind of gathering such a group, prepping everything. You want to be like, cool, if they've put this trust in me, I want to give them the best possible job I can.
Right. I'd say on my end, the biggest challenge would be not necessarily coordination, but that's a very close second, come think of it. It basically is keeping in touch with the group. And with that, I mean, there are certain elements and people that simply do not respond. And that can sometimes be a bugger. Especially if I need lines done, say, by next week when we have agreed upon this already like 2 months ago. Right? And it's like a week before the deadline and they still don't send me said lines. Then I'll just look for someone else and that's that. But it does result in delays.
Like I have to admit, I mean, I was one of those people for a little bit.
Not at all. You're one of the first. You're one of the first, and you had most of all the lines. Like, what the hell, man? Trooper.
No, it was, but I still felt bad because I know we kind of wanted to get these things done. You wanted to get these things done a little bit earlier, so it's very hard to kind of. I think the problem is when you are creating content like this, which is something that you do around your daily life and your day job as well. It's very hard, and like it's not just hard for. I mean, you're the mastermind, the creator and overlord of that entire project. I mean, if it's hard for the people that you're working with to get this done because of their own lives, imagine that 10, 20 times over with everyone else. Ah, man, that's a lot of work you had to do.
You have no idea. Like, it's this channel is
I,
very much a one-man team.
I heard
Like
the disdain
everything
in
you
your voice.
see.
I heard
Come again?
I heard the disdain in your voice. I have some idea.
It's yeah, like I said, this entire channel is a one-man team basically. Every video, every 240 videos you've seen on the channel is basically me editing everything. So yeah, it's quite some time spent on it, especially nowadays with the change of quality, I will say, for the better.
Yes.
But it does take away more time because I am now to that level of quality, but I cannot factory produce these videos like say certain no human channel does.
And I think that's something that people don't understand is it's a very, although you eventually get like the skill set to be able to fasten your, like, to get your processor quicker.
It actually helps when you have presets ready. I will say that, and I
Yeah,
do have presets ready, but as Jen can testify, because she was around when I was editing Chapter 2, Chapter 2 effectively burnt me out.
Yes. Yeah, I know, man. I remember chatting about it.
That was... it was fun to work on, but good lord. And then, as I was finished, to notice that that big damn picture of a door was there around the 27th minute that somehow escaped my scan. You have no idea how I slumped in my chair and went, oh, you.
Yes, and that's those silly things where you get annoying. It's like when you've like done all of your editing and you've bounced out your audio tracks, you've got your audio and your video and everything into whatever kind of software you use. I mean, I use DaVinci for mine, and you've got it all in there. And then you've spent all this time making your video and doing all of that for YouTube, and then you've rendered it all down, and then you listen to it before you upload it, and you realize that you forgot to say, like, you forgot to do the intro, or there's like the music has got to stop at a certain point and doesn't stop, and you just notice that one mistake, and you're just like, oh, well, that's like 2 hours of my life I'm never getting back.
But that said, excuse me. That said, I kind of chalked it up to, well, at least people can see that there's a human error in this, so they can, without a doubt, that there is a human working on it. Because it's something, unfortunately, that is evolving in YouTube like that.
Yeah, it is indeed, and I mean, I've noticed it only a few times, not a lot, but you kind of see these people which post these stories which have been taken from Reddit, and you immediately know that's not a human voice reading it. And
it's not a human voice, and the one behind the channel probably never even asked for permission to read whatever was on Reddit.
Yeah, you know what? That's one of my big things as well. Is it's one of the reasons why I like writing my own stories, because I would hate to take something someone's done and then them to be like, actually, that I don't like you using this. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna avoid that.
It's one of the reasons I always make sure that I have permission. Like back in the olden days when I was just baby DrTorment and only had like 2 subscribers or something like that. Back in the olden days, I did not ask permission because I was of the mindset, oh, if it's on the internet, then it's for free. Then I actually got a DMCA strike. And I asked the
Oh,
author,
really?
yeah, I actually did from an author of The Devil's Noise or something along those lines it was called. I can't quite remember. But yeah, so apparently they put that story in a compendium of theirs, so, it's copyrighted by right.
Yeah.
I had no idea, but it also was a bit of a wake-up call. So DMCA strike, and they basically educated me on, oh, look, man, for a first-time offense, we get that. We're gonna remove it, but just know that next time, ask permission. At least I can tell
Yeah.
you're new to this, and that really helped out a lot. Just having that knowledge. And when
Yeah,
I
of course.
last, yeah, continue.
Oh no, it's one of those things where a lot of these things you don't know until you make the mistake.
Yeah.
There's no guide for us doing this. We just kind of, we're people which went, this is cool, let's do this.
That's true. Nowadays,
We'll
you
make
say
them.
it's basically common sense, right? If it's somebody else's story, then ask permission. But
Yeah,
if you just start out and you have no idea how this landscape is to navigate, well, you make a mistake, and you know what? You learn from that mistake, and I did. And I'm unfortunately to say that I've seen these AI narration channels. I actually had a conversation with one that was of the same mindset that I had back in the day. Like, oh, it's on the internet, so it's for free. I said, no, it's not. The author of this story reached out to me, and they told me they never gave you any permission.
Yes, and unfortunately, it's a lesson that people will keep learning. Yeah.
But also unfortunate is that there is no well, YouTube doesn't really care. YouTube is pretty much automated by the algorithm at this point, so it's pretty much abysmal.
Very much so. Yes, that is one of those things that I always find kind of curious, is how that algorithm actually works when you pop up stories. And
I have absolutely no idea, man. It's I've been doing this for 3 years almost by now, if not already 3 years. I have no idea how the algorithm works, and most of the veterans I talk with also have no idea how the algorithm works. You just have to be lucky.
Yeah, it's not really an algorithm. It's very much, I think we're going back to a South Park comment again. It's the kind of, you kind of go behind that door in the building, and there's just someone throwing a ball into a lottery thing, and that's what it lands on. You know what I'm talking about.
Chamber of Commerce episode.
Exactly. Yeah.
I do say maybe we can put him a little break here, but for
Of course.
when we return, what would you say if we did a little bit of Chapter 3 of Dracula as a little tease?
Is there anything you would like in particular?
We can discuss that over the break, or maybe as we go along after the break. It's I don't really have anything in mind, but it's a fun little idea I just had now to do for the audience. It's a little tease for what's to come. It has to be. It does have to be of a English hard. It does have to be something where Jonathan and Dracula both have spoken lines. So I will have a look into that.
I mean, that's a good idea. And Dreadful's back just as we're about to leave.
But that's all right. He can fill the Q&A with new questions for us. He missed our entire Dracula talk and our AI rant. Come on, Dreadful. This was your idea.
He can work as our court jester, our
I wouldn't go that
in
far.
between.
Yeah, he can keep everyone entertained. It's fine.
There we are.
Don't give me any ideas, lads.
Oh no, banned. There you go.
All right, so let's put in our second break here, and after that, ladies and gentlemen, we will be performing a little bit of Dracula Chapter 3 for you. You can say goodbye, by the way.
Not goodbye, by the way.
All right, see you. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. With me still joining is I was almost going to say Dreadful Anecdotes. Wow. It's Tales from the Vox. Tales from the Vox
Hello,
is who's
everyone.
joining me.
Good evening.
Alrighty. Dreadful did had a question for you. Oh, did had a question for you indeed. He asked if you're familiar with the game Dark and Darker.
I am not, I am afraid. This is one which has passed me by.
Then this is a game we should educate you on.
I am intrigued, and I am googling right away. No, this is not one that I have ever seen.
So basically what it is, it's a dungeon looter, and it works very much with the old D&D rule set pertaining your classes.
Yes. It looks very much like what was it called? Dark something of Might and Magic. But
Dark
yes,
Magic the Gathering.
No, not Magic the Gathering.
Okay, I was going to say that. Kitty cat. No,
Dark.
no,
It
no.
looks like Magic, Might and Magic, Dark Messiah.
Dark Messiah.
Very-
There it is. Yes. Why did I not
That's
know
the
that
one.
name? I have that one in my library. God damn it!
Oh, that's a wonderful game.
It really is.
Yes, I love classic dungeon crawlers. They are so much fun. It's
In that
very
case,
nostalgic.
in that case, I can only recommend that you get Dark and Darker, and when you have the time, join me and Dreadful in a session.
Oh, I will indeed.
It's so much fun.
I have to admit one of my favorite times of all time, and one that I still actively go back to, will always be Morrowind. Me,
An OG Elder Scrolls, no one.
Yeah, like quintessential game for me. That is.
I'm gonna admit, my first Elder Scrolls game was Oblivion.
Again, what an incredible game as well.
It is. Not the recent remaster, though, which, by the way, is fantastic. But
I have yet to play it. I've been waiting to play it, but I've had other commitments and other games to finish.
I seriously recommend it. If you love Oblivion, you'll love the remaster of it. They've done a superb job.
Yeah, it looks very, very nice.
I highly recommend it. But I also still recommend Dark and Darker. Trust me, you'll love it. Especially especially when you hear me and Dreadful do our character voices. We do.
Well,
that.
I feel like I can't miss this now.
You really shouldn't. It's I do believe it's a free game to pick up. It does have a legendary status or addition to it, but I think as a new gamer, it actually works best if you just take the free-to-play version and just play with the class you like to play with.
As soon as I get chance.
I'm waiting. You have the chance.
There we go then.
As in right now.
Oh my god, man. Hold on.
No, don't worry about it. We still have one little thing to do for our audience, something we did promise before the break. Oh god, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, good.
I thought you were going to continue talking then.
No. I was no, not really. So are you looking at Steam right now?
Yeah, I've literally just added it to my library.
Most excellent. Most excellent. House of Gem puts it best. Sudden silence. Panic. Indeed.
No panic, I'm here. I like to lurk as well.
It's a little quirk from before, like we said. Like, if there's sudden silence, there's a predator nearby.
Exactly, yeah. What a wonderful callback. So that's my short-term memory kicking in then.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I can remember, probably because we had a lot of fun during this stream.
Yes, yeah, it's been very good fun.
Oh, I agree. Eve, please, I'm trying to be social, please. I'm trying to be social over the internet. Yeah, she wants to sit on my lap, but that would be very detrimental to our upcoming session. With that said, let's present everyone with a little tease of what's coming up in terms of Dracula. What we will be performing for you, ladies and gentlemen, is an excerpt from Chapter 3, where Jonathan is well, I don't think he has... Oh yes, he does have spoken lines. Those are the lines in that are more black than the others, basically. I mean, you know how I put these scripts together by now, so you know what are spoken lines and what is narrative, basically.
Yes.
I won't spoil what it is about, so without further ado, I'm just going to let you do your part until my part is up.
I will indeed.
Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen, this little excerpt from Dracula Chapter 3.
12th of May. Let me begin with the facts. Bare, meagre facts, verified by books and figures, and of which there can be no doubt. I must not confuse them with experiences which will have to rest on my own observations or my memory of them. Last evening, when the Count came from his room, he began asking me questions on legal matters, on the doing of certain kinds of business. I had spent the day wearily over books, and, simply to keep my mind occupied, went over some of the matters I had been examined in at the Lincoln's Inn. There was a certain method in the Count's inquiries, so I shall try to put them down in sequence. The knowledge may somehow, or sometime, be useful to me. First, he asked if a man in England might have 2 solicitors or more. I told him he might have a dozen if he wished, but that it would not be wise to have more than one solicitor engaged in one transaction, as only one could act at a time, and that to change would certain to mitigate against his interest. He seemed thoroughly to understand, and went on to ask if there would be any practical difficulty in having one man to attend, say, to banking, and another look after shipping, in case local help were needed in a place far from home or the banking solicitor. I asked him to explain more fully, so that I might not by any chance mislead him. So he said,
I shall illustrate your friend and mine, Mr. Peter Hawkins, from under the shadow of your beautiful cathedral at Exeter, which is far from London, buys me through your good self my place at London. Good. Now here let me say frankly, lest you should think it strange that I have sought the services of one so far off from London instead of someone resident there, that my motive was that no local interest might be served save my wish only, and as one of London residents might, perhaps, have some purpose of himself or friend to serve, I went thus afield to seek my agent, whose labour should be only to my interest. Now, I suppose, who have much of affairs, wish to ship goods, say, to Newcastle or Durham or Harwich or Dover, might it not be that it could with more ease be done by consigning to one in these ports?
I answered that certainly it would be most easy, but that we solicitors had a system of agency, one for the other, so that local work could be done locally on instruction from any solicitor, so that the client, simply placing himself in the hands of one man, could have his wishes carried out by him without further trouble.
But
He said,
I could be at liberty to direct myself, is it not so?
Of course, I replied, and such is often men of business who do not like the whole of their affairs to be known by any one person.
Good.
He said, and then went on to ask about the means of making consignments and the forms to be gone through, and all sorts of difficulties which might arise, but by forethought could be guarded against. I explained all these things to him to the best of my ability, and he certainly left me under the impression that he would have made a wonderful solicitor, for there was nothing that he did not think of or foresee. For a man who has never in the country, and who did not evidently do much in the way of business, his knowledge and acumen were wonderful. When he had satisfied himself on the books available, he suddenly stood up and said,
Have you written since your first letter to our friend Mr. Peter Hawkins or to any other?
It was with some bitterness in my heart that I answered that I had not, that as yet I had not seen any opportunity of sending letters to anybody.
Then write one now, my young friend.
He said, laying a heavy hand on my shoulder.
Write to our friend and to any other, and say, if it will please you, that you shall stay with me until a month from now.
You wish me to stay so long? I asked, but my heart grew cold at the thought.
I desire it much, nay, I will take no refusal. When your master, employer, what you will, engaged that someone should come on his behalf, it was understood that my needs only were to be consulted. I have not stinted. Is it not so?
What could I do but bow acceptance? It was Mr. Hawkins' interest, not mine, and I had to think of him, not myself. And besides, while Count Dracula was speaking, there was that in his eyes and in his bearing which made me remember that I was a prisoner, and that if I wished I could have no choice. The Count saw his victory in my bow, and his mastery in the trouble of my face. He began at once to use them, but in his own smooth, resistless way.
I pray you, my friend, my good young friend, that you will not discourse of things other than business in your letters. It will doubtless please your friends to know that you are well, and that you look forward to getting home to them. Is it not so?
As he spoke, he handed me 3 sheets of notepaper and 3 envelopes. They were all of the thinnest foreign post, and looking at them, then at him, and noticing his quiet smile, with the sharp, canine teeth lying over the red underlip, I understood as well as if he had spoken that I should be more careful what I wrote, for he would be able to read. So I determined to write only formal notes now, but to write fully to Mr. Hawkins in secret, and also to Mina, but to her I could write shorthand, which would puzzle the Count, if he did see it. When I had written my 2 letters, I sat quiet, reading a book whilst the Count wrote several notes, referring as he wrote them to some books on his table. Then he took up my two and placed them with his own, and put by his writing materials, after which, the instant the door had closed behind him, I leaned over and looked at the letters which were face down on the table. I felt no compunction in doing so, for under the circumstances, I felt that I should protect myself in every way I could. One of the letters was directed to Samuel F. Billington, number 7, The Crescent, Whitby. Another to Herr Lutner, Varna. The third was to Coutts and Co., London. And the fourth to Herren Klopstock and Biruf, bankers, Budapest. The second and fourth were unsealed. I was just about to look at them when I saw the door handle move. I sank back into my seat, having just had time to resume my book, before the Count, holding still another letter in his hand, entered the room. He took up the letters on the table and stamped them carefully, and then turning to me, said,
I trust you will forgive me, but I have much work to do in private this evening. You will, I hope, find all things as you wish.
At the door, he turned, and after a moment's pause said,
Let me advise you, my dear young friend, nay, let me warn you with all seriousness that should you leave these rooms, you will not by any chance go to sleep in any part of the castle. It is old and has many memories, and there are bad dreams for those who sleep unwisely. Be warned. Should sleep now or ever overcome you, or be like to do, then haste to your own chamber, or to these rooms, for your rest will then be safe. But if you be not careful in this respect, then...
He finished his speech in a gruesome way, for he motioned with his hands as if he were washing them. I quite understood. My only doubt was as to whether any dream could be more terrible than the unnatural, horrible net of gloom and mystery which seemed closing around me.
That was a good little excerpt we did there, if I do say so myself.
It was good fun.
Ah, it was good fun, aye. House of Jam puts it as it should. She says the pacing, cadence, and interaction were amazing, very mesmerizing. Great work on the live read, y'all. Ah, yes, y'all.
Y'all. Yes, yeah, that was very good. It's nice to be able to kind of come back to the character and kind of get my brain into how exactly how my head spoke during that time.
Yeah, it's a good little refresher too, because if you've seen chapter 3, well, you've seen chapter 3 right now as we were looking for that particular excerpt. Dracula goes on a little rant at the start. I am not looking forward to
that. I can't remember. Was that one of the longer chapters or
longer chapters?
I think that was the longest. I think that was the longest one with about 11 pages worth of.
For you, it was, yeah.
I mean, they were all long. I mean, I think.
Oh yeah, you basically had to narrate the first 4 chapters. I only have spoken lines. The Brides have spoken lines. Chapter 1, I believe, has the most people in it. Of the 4.
Yes. Yeah, it does. Yes.
In which Dreadful Anecdotes also has a role, by the way.
He does indeed. Yes. I I do like chapter 3. It's that's one of those chapters where you really, I mean, the first chapter is kind of like this very
Creeping dread.
slightly yeah, it's like an unnerved character going into everything, and number 2 is that kind of he's optimistic but kind of gets this sense of, oh no, everything's going wrong. Number 3 is when he's trying to think of how everything will go, but it's like that looming kind of his sanity is disappearing slowly. And then number 4 is when it all goes
to hell.
yes.
I want to
very
say
much
another
so.
word, but yeah, it's basically going to hell. With chapter 3, I'm actually looking forward to bringing that ending to to the screen.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I want to spoil it or not, but then again, it's a book that's about how old now?
Yeah, I mean, it's only a fair few years old.
Yeah, only a fair few years. No, that's basically not a spoiler, but what will happen is it involves a child, and well, let's just say the thing that has been mentioned, hinted towards the end, might not be for all ages.
Oh, that's interesting. If we go back to our earlier conversations, War of the Worlds came out before Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Huh.
Yeah,
Stop
literally
making me go huh all the time. Stop that.
Yeah, it came out 2 years before Dracula.
Huh.
There we go.
Stop that.
It's full of interesting facts.
Damn it. Victory by Kitty's Cat says, hello, I missed everything because I had to return a library show. That's alright, Victory. So to recap, we were talking a little bit about game sound design before the break, or before our reading of Dracula, I believe. Then we talked about Dark and Darker a little bit, a game that I will introduce Tales of the Vox to with oh so much verve.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this.
And we just did a little live reading of Chapter 3 of Dracula, so if you were a little out of the loop as to why the hell are they talking about this chapter, well, now you know.
I know. Yes, I am very eagerly awaiting the final release of Chapter 3. I'm waiting for the release of all of it. I'm very excited to kind of listen to the chapters that I'm not part of as well. I can listen to it without hearing my own voice, which will be blissful.
Blissful. I don't have to listen to myself for once. Like I said, the channel is pretty much a one-man team, so do give me some time. The subtitles take most of the time, I will say that much.
Okay.
Say about 60% of it is basically me editing subtitles and placing them where they should be.
Yes,
then comes the soundtrack and sound editing itself. Then comes the imagery. I think that is it. Yeah. So yeah, 60% of all the time goes into subtitles, and that is also that's also true for all of my videos, really. Because you have to be very meticulous. You have to look for word, and sometimes the text to speech, speech to text, makes a few mistakes, so it mistranslates words, and I need to nitpick.
That is something that I just have never got round to doing. I don't think it's something I could. The problem is when every single one of the stories on my channel, with the exception of I think 2, are written by myself. I quite often ad-lib, so I'll write my own story, write a script for it for myself, and then 90% of the time I've ad-libbed a load of it, so it's never as written.
Oh,
so, it's
I have to do that with my own writings.
It's one of those things where when you do it and you're like, now I've said it, this actually sounds really terrible. I'm going to say it in a different way, or I'm going to change up the ordering of some stuff, but I don't want to have to go back and edit it. I'll just do like 3 or 4 different takes of variations, and I'll pick which one fits the best.
Ah, yes. I seriously need to do that with my own writing. Oh my god. I was just reminded of that by somebody else on the server called Wicked Horizons. Some of
Yep.
the viewers may know him from a Ladies Bucaria server as well. That said, wonderful person, by the way. He actually helps me at the moment editing a few small writings I've done so far. He's giving them a much needed edit because I haven't touched those stories in about 5 years as of today.
Oh, that's
Much.
some time.
It was way before that I had my certificate to teach English, so there's a lot of syntax and grammatical errors that I made there that I'm very much ashamed of.
I think this is the problem. So, I mean, I am not a writer by any mean feat. I have got a nice amount of dyslexia to myself. Terrible speller, terrible grammar. But it's one of those things where if I was to publish the stories I had written as stories, they would be catastrophic. They would be awful. But seeing as I read them, I don't have to worry about the grammar or the spelling mistakes.
I mean, for someone that has dyslexia, you read that chapter wonderfully, man, just now.
That's also because
I honestly couldn't. I
I
honestly couldn't. I actually forgot you had that dyslexia until you just mentioned it now. I actually forgot.
Yes. Yeah, it's well, one, because we did it before, two, because I really enjoyed that chapter, and three, because I remembered to put my reading glasses on.
Ah, yes. The reading glasses.
Yeah, the screen wasn't so blurry then for me.
That actually does help. I can only imagine how much that would help. That said, I do believe your last video was or did pertain to War of the Worlds, right?
It did indeed. It did indeed, as I mentioned earlier.
That was 2-3 weeks ago.
Yes, something along those lines. Yes, and I released that at the beginning of the month, and then have actually been busy doing things in a now life has kind of calmed down. Actually been going out and doing things for the first time in a while, so it's kind of taken away my time to get my next video done, which should hopefully be this weekend if I get time after work tomorrow to finish editing it all down.
Well, is there something that I've learned is that quality can't be rushed. So yes, YouTube demands that you basically start uploading stuff like you're some factory at work. But you know what? I've learned myself that it actually kind of helps, regrettably, because I personally hate them, but with a passion. But it does help with shorts, basically to fill in the gaps for uploads. Doesn't have to be like 3 minutes long or something like that. It's just something nice and short and just put it out there. YouTube's algorithm is like, oh, an upload, and there it goes.
I have to admit, so that's one of those things that I kind of did for a while. So I do on my channel have this. I've kind of got like a million different playlists on my channel, and it's got the short stories, which are the ones which are like over 5 or so minutes. They're the ones which you can sit down and listen to. And then I do have one which is just tiny tales and dark poems, and they're all kind of less than 3 minutes, like normally 1 or 2 minutes, and it's just like half a page worth of text kind of things, but it's also
hold on a sec.
Reading.
Did I hear you say you also did dark poems? Did I miss that?
Maybe, yes. I have a bunch. I mean, they are. Some of them are.
I need to look in your uploads again. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I have a few. They range from many different things. So I have the first one that the first one I did was one that I really enjoyed called Old Man, which was I think that's probably one of my favorite poems I did, and that was very much based on the kind of current climate of how the elderly are treated in the UK, with different political factors kind of treated it coming in, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very much kind of an ode to how our older generations are treated now, which is a very sad thing. And then there are some segments in there which are mental health related. So it's ones which, if I've had a bad period of kind of mental health, one of the things that helps me get through it is writing almost sort of a poem down to kind of encapsulate those feelings in a point so I can express it. And then I've done some on. I did one. I think some point last year on certain global conflicts, bits and bobs like this.
Bits and bobs like that. Yeah, I'm actually
Yes.
looking through your playlist right now. I have found it, by the way. The Tiny Tales and Dark Poems, indeed. I'm going to
Tiny Tales
binge
and
this tonight. That's what
There
I'm
we
going
go.
to do. That said, let's see. Where is my timer? Because I have a timer somewhere around here. Ah, there we go. We have about 6 minutes left, so I want to suggest maybe we can end this off on a poetic narration.
Yeah. Is there anything in mind you have?
For me, no, not necessarily. But since I have apparently most of the fans like a dark gothic kind of poem on my end, what say you? Will you read something that you've already penned down or narrated on the channel before, like say The Old Man, or will we go for
Yeah.
something Edgar Allan Poe, Lovecrafty, and stuff like that?
I mean, the old man is dark and dreary as it stands,
As it should.
but we shall go with that.
All right, so while you prepare that poem, I'm going to. It only is fair that I bring along one of mine. So let me first have a look. Go back on the Google Drive. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are slowly but surely reaching the end of the live stream. It's been a fun 3 hours, though. We've got to learn more about Tales from the Vox, who is pretty much one of the main protagonists in the project of Dracula that is going on the channel, who has been a superb and utter trooper reading all 4 chapters on his own. I'm really much looking forward to those 2 and work on them more. And that's it. I should have my stuff around here. I have no idea what... Ooh. It's a little too dark, even for my tastes. Well, not really for my taste. It's more for YouTube's tastes. All right, whenever you're ready. Stage is all yours, man.
I am all here. I was just
Okay. I was a little panicking with the silence there, like, oh no, is the connection broken?
no. I was just trying to get my mic stand in a little bit of a better placement for this. Unfortunately, I broke my microphone stand a few months ago, and it's currently in a state of repair right now, which is very sad. But I will hopefully have a better one at some point relatively soon.
Well then, without further ado, the stage is all yours. You may proceed when ready.
The old man sat there, cold and alone once more. The faint glows of morning light pierced the veil of darkness through the slight clack in the curtains. His mind started to dwell on memories, a youth at war, the horrors he saw, the friendships he built and the adjustments to normal life. A sweetheart he fell in love with, a first kiss, a wedding, a family, the pain of saying goodbye as illness consumed her. The old man sat there, cold and alone once more. Now by himself, forgotten by both kith and kin, his armchair brought him all the comfort he knew, embittered by what life had both blessed him with and had so cruelly taken away. Each day now the same, an unsocial commute to the local shop for supplies and his paper, a poor man's pension hardly providing enough to eat, a life without luxury and even some of the most basic needs. The old man sat there, cold and alone once more. His stained shirt and moth-eaten slippers were of little worry to him, for it had been ages since visitors had knocked upon his door. So as like the last day, and the day before that, he rose from his seat to start his day anew. But unbeknownst to him, his body would stay without heating, no food, no family friend to help him to his name. Being a ghost feels exactly the same. The old man sat there, cold and alone, forevermore.
Impactful.
There we go.
You weren't kidding. Kind of related to the
Yes.
old man there a few times. Like, huh.
Yeah. Yes, it's a very kind of sad and poignant poem that was, and it's unfortunately I've seen it through both uh just from society's standpoint, but then also by people you know as well, and it's a very sad thing to see.
It really hits home. Let me just end the Q&A there.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, everybody is being very supportive. It is, yeah, honestly quite something. It's been a while since a poem actually made me sit down and think a little bit on those themes. It's like, well, guess I'm going to be old and alone then.
Yeah, and it's a sad reality which many of us have to face. So it's yes, just a lot of these stories are very much a case of life without compassion is not life. So we need to make sure it's something that all of us kind of put a bit more out there in the world.
Just survival is not living.
No, it's really not, and that's something I can very much. I've been there before, and it's yeah, it's better to kind of embrace life.
Speaking of, the poem that I want to present has absolutely nothing to do with life. Quite the opposite, in fact. It is a poem I did perform for someone else on their channel. Once again, TJ Order from Tapes of Trepidation, one of his earlier videos. It is something that I have penned down myself specifically for him, but it also would be fitting in the dark fantasy writing that I also am helming at the moment. It's a little bit of a side project at this point, but it's a fun little thing to do.
Awesome.
I don't believe it is as long as The Old Man Sat Alone, but nevertheless, it should still be something to enjoy. Well, enjoy, depending on your outlook on things, of course. Let's see here. Where did I have so many tabs open, my god. Ah, there we are. So as I said, it's very much a poem that pertains to our world and into the dark fantasy setting. I try to make it as ambiguous as possible. It is called A Rider Pale Rode Alone. And unfortunately, unlike you, Vox, I do not play piano, so I cannot add my own soundtrack.
I was just like, quick, what's something I can just pluck out of the head quickly to background noise it?
I actually noticed that, like, wait, where's the piano coming from? Do I have something on my end? It's like, no, you don't. But enough stalling, let me just present my own horrible writing. Our lands were young, still teeming green, no stains on maps were then seen. A rider pale rode between hills and seas, cold was his gaze upon both wicked and free. No words bespoke, no culture born, when death there rode, and rode alone. His veil was seen, his reach was long, as he rode, a dirge was sung, of life beyond and silver heavens, and the places where the fire beckons. In his hand no care for age nor life spent, merely a wise word before your end. Our lands were fair, with pillars tall, before the days our stories fall, of mighty realms that conquered on, and great rulers who now sleep beyond. In plague and fire they were waved away, the world sighed glad on death's good days. His scythe reaped long and swept away that petty gods dared not stay. The garden withered, the apple plucked, all light fell where darkness struck. And still there demons and angels swore that death still rode, and rode alone. Our world is grey, our souls grew old, the myth's long warmth is ashen cold. No dirges sung, no veil would fall, a darkness laid upon us all. The silver cities and fires once waiting closed their gates for our berating. But still, in last dreams and more, a pale rider comes and beckons forth. He rides alone, yet with a promise steep, to reap all before our final sleep. And there we have it, a rider pale rode alone.
I don't know if you heard the clapping there. It didn't come through too loud.
It didn't come through at all. Yeah, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our stream. Vox, do you have any last encouraging words for our audience?
Yeah, just if you have something you enjoy doing, don't stop doing it, and live life with a bit more compassion.
That is very encouraging. I also have a few words of encouragement to share. Don't die.
Don't. You've been told not to, so you can't now.
Yeah, you're forbidden. You're absolutely forbidden. If I catch you, I will shake death by his robes, and I will drag you back screaming back to this world. You mark my words, viewer.
Das ist verboten.
Das ist verboten!
That's a weird way to end this stream.
Yeah, that went a little bit weird there at the end, but that's fine. It's fine. It wouldn't be a DrTorment stream without the weirdness towards the end.
There we go.
Well then,
yeah. Thank you so much for having me here, man. It's been good fun.
Yeah, it's been wonderful, really.
Yes, and I look forward to the further collaborations. Look forward to the further these playing video games and.
Speaking of collaborations, yes. I do believe that everybody should also have a visit at the channel of Dreadful Anecdotes, because of an upcoming collaboration, now that you mention, that features both of us on his channel.
Yes, we was that this week? Was that last week? I can't remember. I'm so out of time.
Me neither, but Dreadful does know.
As long as that's the important person to
That's
know
the
when
important
it all
person.
happened.
When it falls,
Yes,
when
yeah.
it drops, it will drop. We will know. That said, let me just give a quick link to everyone in the chat so they know what to look out for if they haven't subscribed already. As soon as I can find my tab, please don't be difficult now. Tab. Paste it on, you bastard. There we are. There we are, chat. If you are in the chat, by all means, have also a look at Dreadful Anecdotes' channel here, who will feature both me and Vox in a collaboration very, very soon. And he is hoping to have it done by this weekend, he says.
I look forward to it.
Me too. Me too. It's going to be so much fun. But then, for the last time, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our stream. It has been a lovely time. I can honestly say, Vox, you've been one of the most favorite people I've had on a guest stream so far.
I thank you very much. And for the first time ever doing anything like this, you have given me a lot of encouragement, and so has Dreadful in the background as well. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, and it's bolstered me quite a lot. And thank you for everyone else for chiming in and putting your comments forward and your nice messages and everything. It's been an absolute pleasure. So I shall go to bed with a smile on my face.
I should try harder to bring misery to your life then. But with that all said,
it's fine. This will be the first night where I won't go out prowling the streets.
I'll hold you to that.
Watch out for my next video. That's all I'll say.
Most excellent. So there you have it. Even more encouragement to also go and follow Tales from the Vox. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, with that I will bid you adieu. If you wish to see more guest streams or other sort of content coming from the channel, by all means do give a subscription over to the channel as well. By all means, also do a comment and a like upon this live stream, because YouTube likes that kind of engagement. And
really
then,
do.
And with that, we bid you all adieu. And remember, don't fall asleep ever.
Good night.